Chair now recognizes Ms. Tlaib for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor Adams, since we're on the this conversation around oversight and some misclaims here about corruption, I mean, do you agree, Mr. Mayor Adams?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you, Congresswoman.
Oh, okay. You weren't looking at me. That's why. It's okay. I'll speak louder if you want. Do you agree to a quid pro quo deal to enforce the Trump administration's cruel immigration policy in exchange for protection from the federal corruption charges against you? And you are under oath, just as a reminder.
Congresswoman, there was no agreement. There was no quid pro quo, and I've done nothing wrong.
So help me out here, though. So the Trump official, Tom Homan, we all know who he is. He said, quote, I'm quoting him, "If he doesn't come through, I'll be in his office, up his butt," sorry, Chairman, saying where the hell is the agreement we came to, end of quote. You're accusing the Trump administration for lying? Or, did they lie? What agreement did they're lying then?
Mr. Homeland and I both agree we will fight dangerous criminals, and we've never had any conversation about my case.
Okay. So Mayor Johnson and Johnson and who, I'm sorry, I can't get that.
You can just call it Chicago and Denver.
There you go. This is really important, you know, as a child of immigrants, and I think many of my colleagues on that side of the aisle have beautiful, diverse communities as well. And one of the things that I know happens when we try to have local law enforcement and local city officials, I mean, they even want treasury, folks that work for our city treasury, asking people for immigration status. That's what they would prefer. You know, is that racial profiling? I mean, what do you do? Like, you wait for somebody to come, they have an accent, maybe they wear hijab, maybe they look a certain way. That's what they want you to do. That's what they're asking you to do, by the way. They want you all to basically do the job of what the federal government should be doing in regards to passing really comprehensive immigration reform, so families are not separated, because right now they're just, all they want to do is continue talking about enforcement. Guess what? The last 20 years it didn't work, did it? It isn't working. So one by one, if you can talk about that, because I know my mother, who's been here for over 50 years, is carrying her passport, her U.S. passport for the first time in her life. And she ain't traveling nowhere out of the country. But she's carrying it because she knows her beautiful accent, it's beautiful, I love it, and just so fearful of being stopped and being asked her immigration status. She knows she'll be racially profiled. And she already feels unsafe in a community she lived in for over 50 years.
Thank you, Congresswoman. I would just agree. We don't think it's relevant to know someone's status when they come into a public library to check out a book, or if they come to the hospital for service, or if they come to register their child for school. The Constitution says you're entitled to an education. Our job is to provide it. So we think that's unnecessary, and it just scares people away.
Yeah, Mayor.
Yeah, allowing local law enforcement in the city of Chicago to focus on city priorities, as well as making sure that there's trust between our immigrant communities and all of our communities.
I've worked on domestic violence cases as a former immigration attorney.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, this is deadly for women being abused. Deadly.
It certainly engenders trust, and that's how we have
Absolutely.
driven crime down in the city of Chicago, because of that trust.
Mayor.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Boston is proud to be the safest major city in the country, and we do not ask about immigration status when providing city services. We also are clear to all our residents that we do not care about immigration status when we hold people accountable for doing harm in the community as well.
Yeah, because when I hear sanctuary city, I hear anti-racial profiling. I really do. I hear like, okay, we're not here in the business of trying to enforce broken immigration laws that are inhumane, completely immoral right now. That's what I hear. And I, as a former immigration attorney, when I hear the story in Denver, and trust me, ICE is there waiting to pick them up. They sent 6 of them, and they couldn't handle 6 of them couldn't take this guy that they're supposed to pick up. Doesn't make any sense to me, because they're there. They're pretending they don't know that as a fact. But one of the things that bothers me about all of this is the executive order of rescinding the sensitive locations. Why this is important. They basically want to do immigration enforcement and racial profiling, and immigration enforcement that's race-based, because look at, I'm at the Canadian border in Detroit. Do you know the majority of people coming down undocumented is Canadian? But guess what? It's still the brown folks that are overwhelming. ACLU did a study, is overwhelming the ones being targeted, detained, and deported. And so for me, the sensitive location, this is hospitals, schools, You know, this is like funerals. This was all a policy in place to protect us from having our communities over-policed and militarized. Can you talk about the impact of that? And I have 22 more seconds because
No,
he went
'cause
over.
his time
He went
was-
over
he
22
was-
more
you
seconds.
spoke over him.
He
That
went,
was
no,
not
he
true.
didn't. No, I didn't. Chairman, I never spoke over him.
No, not you. The mayor spoke over Brandon.
Oh, well, I didn't. It doesn't matter. He went over 22 seconds.
But go ahead
I
and
just
ask your
want them to
question.
answer the question about the sensitive locations, because this is something we all should be scared of, because pastors are calling me, because they're talking about churches being possibly having ICE agents show up at churches.
I can just say, Congresswoman, our fastest growing church in Denver went from 700 folks in the parishion to 5 after that announcement.
All right. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, Chair recognizes